Hello everyone, welcome to Game Escape, and today we're going to be playing While the Iron is Hot, and the topic we're going to be discussing is the day in the life of a blacksmith. So I just invite you to sit back, relax, maybe grab a snack, and we'll dig into this topic. So the day in the life of a blacksmith, apparently it was not very easy. It's not very easy to become a blacksmith either, as we will discuss in this video. Blisters all over your hands, smoke inhalation from the coal, covered in soot, burns from sparks and hot objects, and constant work. The blacksmith bartered their services with the townsfolk. A master smith had potential for good money if members of the upper class had the coin for armor. You landed yourself in a castle with steady work of fixing braziers, chandeliers, armor, and the torture devices in the dungeon, which must be pleasant. You might work for the church, fixing the artwork and fixtures around there. Regardless, the days are long in an extremely hot place, constantly working. In a town, you might join the guild, the local guild. So the guild helped with steady work, paid, acted as a vocational school for up-and-coming blacksmiths. But a guild had standards when it comes to craftsmanship and product quality, meaning you had to be skilled to get anywhere in the guild. I want you to picture this though. You're not a master blacksmith. You don't have your own forge or cannot work in a forge on your own. You have to start an apprenticeship. And it begins around ages 11 to 14. Like many apprenticeships in those times, it was common for kids to leave their home, to live with others, to learn a craft. So they have documentation of this as well. They found writings. An Italian visiting in England around 1500 wrote, "The want of affection in the English is strongly manifested towards their children. For after having kept them at home till they arrive at the age of 7 or 9 years at the most, they put them out, both males and females, to hard service in the houses of other people, binding them generally for another 7 or 9 years, and these are called apprentices. And during that time they perform all the most menial offices. And few are born who are exempted from this fate, for everyone, however rich he may be, sends away his children into the house of others, whilst he, in return, receives those of strangers into his own." This apprenticeship program, if you want to call it that, it went on for quite a while. There was an ad post in the Pennsylvania Packet and Daily Advertiser, August 1st, 1789. Wanted at said works, apprentices from 10 to 14 years of age, to learn the nailing and smith's business. The boys will be placed under the direction of sober, industrious workmen, and will be suitably clothed and fed during their apprenticeship, and instructed in reading, writing, and arithmetic, and when of age will each receive one new suit of clothes and $15 in money for the purpose of furnishing themselves with a set of tools. And here's the thing, you had to work for years before producing any of your own work. I mean, your primary duties were working the bellows, breaking coal for the furnace, heating the steel, and trying not to get yelled at by the master smith or burnt. You had to pump the bellows for hours by hand or ensure the water wheel stayed working. You woke early in the morning to start your day of fuel collection and starting the furnace. Bellows work never stopped because metal needed to be constantly reheated during the process. The end of the day concluded with you clearing things out, cleaning everything for tomorrow's work. You also had a lot of competition. So a master smith may have six or eight apprentices at a time. Your apprenticeship is cut short if the master blacksmith chooses. Your parents might have sent you to a guild to live with master smiths at a young age. You learn a trade, and then the master smith gets basically a manual labor worker around the shop for your lessons. And a master smith had no qualms about punishing you at a young age for misbehavior, and these included no food, physical punishment, which physical punishment could include literally beatings, special unsavory tasks around the shop. And if you do all this and if you make it, then after about 8 years of being under the tutelage of a master smith, you became a journeyman. So what a journeyman meant is that you now had enough status to work next to a master smith. You're moving up in life slowly. You could seek employment with blacksmith shops, open your own shop, or work alongside your original master smith. Most journeymen were part of the local guild who maintained standards for the journeyman. They provided city jobs, support, and helped build recognition of the journeyman in the community. And you were a member for life, so you stayed with the guild for life as soon as you were a journeyman. Still, however, they didn't really make things easy for you. Guilds required journeymen to be servants to a master smith for years, in some cases. You had yearly inspection of all products you produced. So let's say you made swords, armor, and locks. You would have to present yearly those items to the guild, and then they would inspect them if they actually meet the guild's standards. If you're able to produce products that the guild continuously rates as a high quality, you'll eventually be considered a master smith. Alright, so you went through being a lowly apprentice. You're a journeyman now, working either next to a master smith or you own your own shop. Maybe you're part of the local guild. They like your stuff enough that now you're finally promoted to master smith. So this is what you get for being a master smith. So a master smith in the guilds, you had a voice in setting prices for products and the quality expected. You still submitted your work, but the submission gear was more geared towards showing off your skill to gain reputation and admiration from your other master smiths. What I kind of get from reading this is that the guilds is literally advertising you, showing off your work, trying to get your name out there so the community will actually come to you to purchase items. But something else that this does is the guild is setting a standard price and in a way controlling the market value of the goods and services being sold. It means that people who buy a product can actually see if it's market value to prevent shams or people getting frauded out of their money. Alright, so now you own your own shop. You're a master smith. You're doing pretty good. You got some set prices. Well, the locals, for example, farmer, wouldn't necessarily have a lot of coin. What they do have is food to give. So if a farmer needed a new plow, they might pay you in food instead of actual coins. Now, if you want coins, there are set prices for each product. The guild sets the prices by the item and not by the hour. So, and you're making a helmet, they pay you for the helmet. They don't pay you for how long it took you to make that helmet. Now, if you worked in a castle or you worked in a church, you got a annual salary on top of the item's price per item. The last bit we'll touch in here is, which I think is kind of funny, is get ready for the noise complaints. So you own a shop, you're hammering away, and as essential as you are, you're gonna get people annoyed by your work. So blacksmiths, along with other smiths, were considered unwanted neighbors. So London, 1337, city officials asked smiths to move their shops after receiving complaints from citizens about the noise. Spurriers, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, were blacksmiths who made spurs, and they were actually considered worse. Townsfolk called them lazy drunks who do not work. Their great furnaces burned so hot to be a danger to the smiths in the neighborhood. So, for example, a complaint written in 1377. The blows of the sledgehammer when the great pieces of iron are being wrought into armor shake the stone and earthen party walls of the plaintiff's house so that they are in danger of collapsing, and disturb the rest of the plaintiffs and their servants day and night, and spoil the wine and ale in the cellar, and the stench of the smoke from the sea coal used in forge penetrates their halls and chambers. Yep, your neighbors may appreciate your work, but do not like the noise you bring. It's not the only piece of documentation against the blacksmith. Poor work does not go unrecognized by the farmer who buys horseshoes and when one breaks, causing damage to his or her horse. There was a speech, a sermon actually, where a priest went over this exact kind of incident and really hammered blacksmiths for doing poor work. So all this to say that the day in the life of blacksmith meant waking up early, going to bed late, filling your lungs with smoke, the furnace covered you in soot, you had to manage apprentices, working for your employer, all because so many in the community needed your services. Because without the blacksmith, nobody else could do their craft. I hope this was educational. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope this gave you a break from the world for a little bit. And until next time.